Hey guys, I watched Spider-Man No Way Home a little bit ago, and I just wanted to kind of give my thoughts and a little bit of a review on the movie. So yeah, Spider-Man No Way Home. It stars Tom Holland, Zendaya, and Jacob Babylon, along with some other cast members. And from the trailers, you probably already noticed that it brings some characters, some villains from previous Spider-Man IPs, especially from Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield Spider-Man's Amazing Spider-Man series, and yeah. So first off, the villains. It's actually really interesting how they kind of play off, or like the motivations of the villains are. They're actually straight from their movies. It's actually really kind of a cool, you know, uh, avenue that they went through when making this movie. Actually, I thought they would bring them in and kind of like MCUify them. Like even though they come from different universes from the multiverse, I thought it was pretty interesting and pretty ballsy to acknowledge that they come from the different movies. That not like saying like, oh, they come from a different movie. They come from the movie franchises they watch. Like, no, it comes from like it treats the other movies as universes in the multiverse. And I thought that was actually really interesting. And it actually does cause a lot of conflict for a few of these characters who, you know, through spoilers for the other movies, who don't end up living through their franchises. Like it really does. That's kind of like the act two conflict, or the act two and act three conflict of, you know, of Tom Holland, Peter Parker, who wants to do right by his powers, who wants to do right by his aunt, and help these guys, have a better chance at surviving at the end. I thought that was actually really cool. The acting is actually really good. Tom Holland, I felt like at first I was really gung ho. I loved Tom Holland as Spider Man, but as there was more movies coming out with him as that character, I thought, you know, he acted very young for the Peter Parker that I grew up with. Like I grew up with a Peter Parker who was still in high school, who was in still the same age range, but was a lot more mature, even though he's still kind of an idiot. This Tom Holland's Peter Parker always seemed way too young for my liking once I got more of a taste for it. But this one, he's a lot more matured. He's a lot more, well, he's still kind of an idiot, but he's still carrying that character of like his own Peter Parker throughout the movie. But adding like, oh, he's learning, he's growing up, he's going through like all these different things, and he's actually blossoming into this Peter Parker that a lot of us comic book nerds actually do love. And I think there's a lot of like fan servicey uh moments in this movie, but honestly a lot of it, even though some of them are meant for memes or jokes or callbacks, like simple things, a lot of the kind of callbacks that they had with the other movies that we loved actually do play into the story itself. Like I often give a lot of flack to Star Wars, especially the newer trilogy from Disney, that um, that they're just baiting you with the fan service, that they're really really shallow for the movies that they want to show you. And the reason why I don't like it there but I like it here is because in No Way Home it actually plays into the plot itself, and it's not like for a plot forwarding thing. It's more of like it's more to grow Tom Holland's character, like grow more Peter Parker's character rather than just a hollow like, oh, you remember what happened in the previous movies, and then like never really address it, or like it's a much different experience. Like in this one, like Alfred Molina, uh, it still plays the fact that you know he's still his character at the end of it, and he plays an integral part to the plot. And also Green Goblin in this movie, he's the main villain, and he is terrifying. Like I love the costume design that they had with him. I thought it was a good callback to the classic look, but also just Willem Dafoe's acting as Norman Osborn was actually really good. He seemed like just such a calm, really like scared person. But then when that switch flips, when the Green Goblin comes out, it's pretty wild. Some of my issues with the movie is that I think, even though for most of the jokes that it landed pretty well, but I felt like sometimes we ended up laughing at a moment that was supposed to be a bit more serious. Uh, I think it just, even though they were functional and they were like effective in their execution, I felt like some of the comedy detracted from some of the serious moments that the movie was supposed to be going for. No, actually, another kind of gripe that I have with the movie is that at the end of Far From Home, or at the end credit scene of Far From Home, we had this huge reveal that Mysterio actually revealed Peter Parker's identity, yeah, as Spider-Man, and they played up pretty well in the beginning act, but once the movie kind of kept on going, and they kind of moved on from that kind of scenario. Like, it was a big part of why the plot actually happened. But other than that, it just mostly just set up. It didn't actually play it too much, other than with like small hints. But like, actually, I thought it was done pretty well with like the small hints that Peter doesn't have to hide anymore. Like, and like, he's swinging around without his mask, or swinging around without even his suit. He's just swinging around in his normal clothes, but everybody knows. Also, I like how, with that whole concept, even though it was just set up, I liked how it showed perspective of the city. Like, the city actually did feel a little bit like a character with this reveal. Like, some people who were very vocal about their opinions were kind of harassing Peter Parker, Aunt May. They're harassing MJ and Ned. They're harassing people. But then there's people in Peter Parker's life and Peter Parker himself. But there's also some people who were kind of supportive, who still remember the good things, even though the public believes that Peter Parker killed Mysterio and set the drones. I like how a lot of people, there are people on both sides, and it showed both sides. Even people it was pretty funny how some people in not his person in his personal life, but not really close to him, uh, kind of are opposed to him. Is pretty funny take. But yeah, that's my kind of take on it. It's actually a really good movie. I don't know if it's better than Spider-Man 2. I don't know if it's better than Into the Spider-Verse, because those two are my like two favorite Spider-Man movies. But I'll give it some time, I'll give it some thought. Maybe I'll rank all the Spider-Man movies. Uh, you know, once I give it a little bit of thought, because right now I still love this movie, even though I watched it like a couple weeks ago. But we'll see where it lands once the hype has died down on my tier list. But right now, I would highly recommend it, especially with all the spoilers coming out, all the people talking about it. If you happen to miss all of that and you still haven't seen the movie, yeah, go for it. Like, it's an amazing movie. But yeah, what what do you guys see the movie? What do you guys think about it? Should I make a spoiler filled review on some of the things that I like that I can't talk about in the spoiler free review? But yeah, have you seen it? What do you think about it? I'll see you in the next one.